Now, I mentioned before that you want to eventually try to become less of an employee and more of an owner, right? As an employee, you're trading time for money. You're trading time and labor for money. And you can live a very comfortable life and be responsible fiscally and set up for a family as an employee. You can work for a company for 30 years, make a healthy salary that slowly increases every time during your annual reviews and things like that. But if you really want to have a exponential trajectory upward, you have to think in terms of being an owner, and that means having equity in a company, whether it's a private company or in the stock market or things like that. It's these equities that give you not this incremental approach, but this spike that can go really high or can also go really low. So you just have to know, if you want to make a lot of money, you have to be willing to take a lot of risk so that you can go up here. If you don't want to take risk, you want to play it safe, you want to work a 9-to-5 job, the risk is less and there's a slower incline for success, and you can still do that and be set for life with some of these principles that I'm talking about. Now, if you are an employee, and most of the people that are watching this video, because it's beginners and all these things, most of us are employees in some way, shape, or form, right? If your company gives you a 401k, especially if they match something, for example, say they allow you to have a 401k with a 3% match, you have to do yourself the favor of maximizing whatever they're willing to match, max that out. The first thing I'd say is, if and when you can get to the point on this journey of getting out of debt and going into a nice trajectory of financial security, you want to get to the point where you can put as much money as you possibly can into your 401k. Never put less than the amount your employer is willing to match. What I mean by that is, don't say, oh, I'm just gonna put 3% in my 401k of my paycheck, even though my employer is willing to match 6%. You're shooting yourself in the foot of a great opportunity if you don't at least get to that maxed out point that your employer is willing to match. Now, again, even better than that, if you can get to the point where you can survive from paycheck to paycheck by putting more and more money into your savings account, max out your 401k every year if you can. That is the first step to long-term sustainability and setting yourself up for success in the long run. You want to be, as long as you can eat and pay off your expenses and live month to month and be fine, this is my opinion, you want to max out that 401k. The IRS allows us, I think it's $18,500 a year currently. You want to put $18,500 a year in your 401k if you can. Now, keep this in mind, guys. Some people don't even know what a 401k is. They don't even know what that means. They go, well, what about the investment side of that, right? So I'm not going to tell you what to invest in. I'm just going to make you aware that it's all about risk. But once you put that money in that 401k, you don't just let it sit there now, right? You're not just letting it sit there. You activate it by investing in the market, right? The 401k essentially is a benefit where the government lets you benefit from saving by taxing you in a certain way. There's two different types. One is where they tax you now and then you put money in there, and then one is they tax you whenever you pull the money out. There's no way to know what that tax rate is going to be, so I used to hedge my risk by having half and half, right? Maxed out, half in Roth, half in whatever. And with that said, just know I don't do any fancy investment strategies. I believe in the world economy. I believe in the United States. This is a deeper philosophy, but you have to know that anytime you start to invest now, you're playing the bigger picture, right? So you're banking on the fact that not everything's not going to collapse. When you do start to invest, I would do just normal Vanguard long-term retirement accounts. If you buy a I'm not held responsible. I'm not pushing Vanguard here. What I'm saying is, long-term retirement accounts, that's the way that I have invested, and my net worth continues to grow just from that, right? Currently, even with my monthly expenses, whatever, just know that those accounts continue to grow because the stock market right now is at an all-time high. Will it stay there? I don't know. Warren Buffett a couple months ago was pulling everything out, making everything liquid in his accounts because he thought Donald Trump, if I'm not mistaken, that we were at a risky time where the stock market was potentially going to crash because it's continuing to go up. Now he's wanting to make some big acquisitions and some big purchases. So what that does is it shows confidence in the American economy and the world economy, that he's looking out there and willing to do that. So just know that that's the game that we play. I think that the S&P 500 is a great indicator of the strength of the economy and how the markets are doing overall. The Standard & Poor's top 500 companies, those companies fluctuate over time, but that's a good indicator right there. And if you look at the S&P 500 over the course of time since the Great Depression, it's continually gone up. So for a safe investment, I think the S&P 500 has notoriously been something to consider, or at least take a look at, and it's something to think about, right? Okay, so with that said, you're becoming you're becoming an owner when you invest in these retirement accounts of some of these companies, pieces of these companies, pieces of these sectors, whatever you choose to put your investments in. From there, if I could give any other advice, consider when you get your paychecks, that's just money coming in. You're like, what do I do with this? If you don't have a budget, you don't have certain things, you're just like, oh, let me go buy this, let me go buy this. Because it's human nature just to, if you have a bunch of cash in your hand, to be like, oh, cool, let me go buy this cool thing. Let me go get a PS4 now. Let me go get the newest, you can't think like that. The next pot of money, there are certain pots of money that you want to fill up first. The next pot of money that you'll want to look into filling, right? If you look into a series of pots, the next one that you'll want to fill up would be a Roth IRA account. Roth IRAs are fantastic. You can put $5,500 a year in them, and you do not get taxed on, if I'm not mistaken, I forget how the exact taxes work, but I think you don't get taxed on the gains that you make if you keep it in your Roth IRA until you retire, until you're 55 or 60, whatever it is. But you can still pull out money because the money that you put in the Roth IRA has already been taxed, because it's coming from your paycheck that's already been taxed. You can pull money out up to the amount that you've put into the Roth IRA at any point in time. So say you put $5,500 a year in your Roth IRA account, it's invested over 4 years, and so that means that you've put 5,500 times 4, which is $22,000 over 4 years. Say you've put it in, you've also had a return on your investment, whatever funds you've invested within that account. Say that you've got an $8,000 return, basically you profited $8,000. You can sell $22,000 worth of that and take that money back at any point in time without any penalty on that money. So it's a fantastic opportunity that the government has given for us. And then finally, from those first two pots of money in preferential order, then comes the third pot of money, which is just a normal brokerage account, or if you have a financial advisor that you trust to make purchases on your behalf. I actually do myself. I have a financial advisor who invests part of my retirement accounts, part of my Roth IRA, and then I do whatever I want with my own money. I can give him more if I want, or I can have my own. There's various trading accounts that you can have, whether it's Fidelity, Scott Trade King, there's so many. You're going to want to look for low commission fees on those. I think that really that's what my friends that trade, I think they all go with Trade King. I think it's like $5 per trade as far as the commission goes, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't looked at it lately because I haven't been doing any investing I have a certain amount of money that's being invested by a financial advisor, and then I focus on the rest myself in other ways. So nevertheless, I think that gets you guys started. Keep this in mind. When your money is invested, say it's your retirement account or your personal account or your Roth IRA, whatever accounts you are investing in, there are a couple things to keep in mind. First of all, dividends are awesome. The number one thing that matters is you want to buy low, sell high. That's ultimately what is going to matter most when it comes to the financial piece. But keep in mind that some of these investments that you can make give you dividends, and dividends are amazing, especially if you reinvest those dividends, buy more stock, if it's a good company, of course. Over the course of time, profits and dividends, profits in your stock and dividends together, and you keep reinvesting and you keep reinvesting all your money. That, in addition to collecting interest on other pots of money that you have, other investments that go up in value, all these things together are why they say the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, or at least that's part of the reason. So I think financial education here, and the purpose of this video, is to prevent you from being on the worst side of that cycle and putting yourself and placing yourself by the decisions that you make on the upside there, where you're accumulating wealth rather than feeling like it's being taken from you over the period of time, because that's wouldn't want that for anybody. And we can all improve our finances and our financial health. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope that you get something from it. If you guys have questions or if you have specific areas of advice that you want to look further into, feel free to comment on the video. I know a little bit, but there are tons of resources out there that can give you more intricate education in each of these facets and areas. It was fun talking, and I hope everyone has a profitable week. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.